Hi, welcome to CCTV, Channel 17, Live 525, Preservation Burlington Show. Preservation Burlington is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and our mission is to preserve and protect the historic architecture and livability of Burlington through education and advocacy. I would like to, and we're going to do that, we're going to talk about that tonight. I'd like to thank John Antrim, who's president and board member, long-time board member of the Champlain Club, which was formerly the German club, which was really called the
Gerta Lodge.
Gerta Lodge. And it's spelled, it looks like Goth, right?
Yes.
Gerta Lodge on Crowley Street.
Yep.
Yep. We've been there for a bunch of things, and
Yes.
there's a couple of streets, short streets like that that start with C, like Calarco Court. I always get them confused, you know?
Yep.
But I'd like to thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I know that, like I said, Preservation Burlington's been peripherally paying attention and been a little bit involved in things at the club for a while, and it's just a cool building.
It sure is.
Really neat history.
Sure is.
I want to start by asking you to just explain a little bit of your involvement, how you got involved, because we were talking on the phone the other day, and you said that that it used to be a lonely board, but you've got a little more help now.
A lot more help now.
So how long have you been on the board?
I have been involved with the club in a semi-official or official capacity for over 15 years. I have been president for most of that time. Tom Carr asked me to step up and help the club. I was one of the younger crew coming in at that time, and we have been working away since. Tom did a great deal for the community, and lots of people finally remember him.
Yeah. That's really neat. And so now that you say you've got a little bit more help. So when did you feel some momentum?
Probably about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I guess, if we're counting pandemic time as actual time.
Right.
It was super interesting to get projects going in the community, have a bunch of people step up, show interest, and really a lot of it comes from our love of dance and our love of the space. I got involved in the club as being a dancer, and when we're able to be there every week and enjoy the floor and then refinish the floor during the pandemic time, it's been really lovely.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Been doing lots of improvements, and it feels really, really nice.
A real wood floor.
Yes, actual ballroom wood floor.
Now it's basically the second floor
Yes.
ballroom area, right? There's a stage and everything up there?
Yep, there's a small stage. We can fit about 5 band members on it, and if they bring lots of gear, then we've got to spill them down onto the floor, which still works very well. We just have to light them so the dancers avoid them.
Yep.
And dancing to a live band there is so very, very special.
Oh, that's cool. So you've been doing that for a while?
Yes.
Yeah. So what organizations are you? I want to get to the history of the building in a minute. And
Yes.
Of course, we're going to talk about Preservation Burlington and your guys' board and the future of the building. But so how many people use or members or use the club for?
So we've got around 60 members currently. About half dozen to a dozen groups use the building regularly. We have Jan Kulu for African Drum from West Africa. They're there Thursday nights and Saturday mornings. Cool. So if you're walking through the neighborhood, that's what that is.
That's what you hear?
Wednesday is West Coast Swing with the 802 Westie Collective. I think that's right. Tuesday is Vermont Swings, which is the group I'm primarily involved with. There's also Salsalina Tango, Salsa rather, and Queen City Tango are former members, and now they are back in Shelburne. So we miss them.
Yeah, I guess they were filling in some time with you guys because there was a whole big project going on in Shelburne for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Their
great
loss.
It is. There are challenges. But
it sounds like a lot of people love the building and obviously use the building. That's the key, right, to any preservation project.
Yeah.
So your board members now, how many people on the board?
There are 4 executives and 4 members at large. Okay. And so I think we're 8 or 9, maybe. And we work all together, different people with different strengths, different organizing skills, and do a fair amount together. It's really nice.
I always call that a working board.
Yep.
Preservation Burlington's like that too. You hope for as many people as you can get, and then you utilize everybody's skills. And,
Absolutely.
And it's good because it takes a lot of the pressure off. I mean, as you mentioned, I can imagine when it was you trying to drive the thing and trying to get members. You're doing everything.
Yep.
Right. So it's a little better now.
Yes, lots of enthusiasm, and we've got the neighbors are supportive of our events, and we get along very well with them, and
Great. That's
we're
important.
always in touch. So
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah.
So how old is the building?
So the original building footprint dates from 1905 to 1907. Different articles will place it at different times. I do have some of the Burlington land records, which show the transfer of the property that the building was built on to the trustees, and then they donated the property to the order when it was a German.
So it's always been a club.
It's always been a
Built
club.
as
It's
a
never
club.
been a home.
The German club, and Italianate in style. It's got that kind of square, the commercial feel with
Yes.
the cornice up top.
Yep.
Flat roof. Or
There's a pitch roof behind.
behind
Yep.
the cornice. So like the Western towns, right?
Right.
It's got that
Very much.
facade.
And commercial kitchen, and a small gathering room downstairs that we use as a dance room. It had been part of the Dart League around Burlington for a
Okay.
long time. And that was a big kick in the late 80s. And I came across a Vermont Cynic article that talked about the punk rock showdown at the club. So it's been through all kinds of musics and bands and various
For 2006, for 120 something years.
Yes. And so doing what we can, make it as good as we can make it, and
Yep.
hopefully we'll have community in person.
So we're a
community.
little bit. I'm being a little disingenuous because I know what's going on. But tell me a little about so Preservation Burlington is happy to partner
Yeah.
with you guys.
Yeah.
We love the building and stuff. So what's the event coming up? And that we're
So that is September 17th. It is going to start with a walking tour of the neighborhood and the history around the neighborhood, the founders and builders of the club and where they lived.
Yeah.
And then there's a slideshow and discussion, and then a potluck and a dance after that, going into the evening.
nice. So all day event almost.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So the founders. So it was a German neighborhood.
Yes.
That's neat. So they got the property, and then some people all came together and they built the building.
Yes.
Transferred all that. So how big was that neighborhood?
I believe that most of Lakeview Terrace, Voles Street, Crowley, most of Ward was
Yeah.
all German.
Okay.
And all of the little places, when you look around the neighborhood, there are a couple of buildings. You look at them and you're like, that was commercial at some point. That's a commercial storefront that has been converted into apartments.
Yep.
And the Kiesliches had a market like that at the corner of, I believe, North Ave and Lakeview Terrace. And they would go run their market and then go over to the club in the evening and socialize.
Yeah, those communities have. I know that Historic New England just did a big thing on the local markets around Burlington and how they were related to different waves of immigrants and
Yes.
stuff. And I know we've also reached out to Charlotte recently, but
Yeah.
but that's a really neat sort of dynamic for the communities. That there were. If there wasn't like a main street, it was a neighborhood, but it was a German neighborhood, so there were several different commercial operations supporting those people, those immigrants.
Exactly.
And then they had this club, which is pretty cool that it's there and still entertaining people.
Absolutely.
So tell me about so it's not pronounce it again for me.
The Gerta Lodge.
Gerta Lodge. I'm
Yep.
going to remember that.
And that goes back we have a member who is a German philosophy professor, and he is going to be putting together a program for us, probably do it online, with the history of Goethe and Faust and all of the German philosophy that goes in with that. And a lot of the history articles talk about the club being a refuge from the hard life of Burlington in the early 1900s, where the German immigrants were used to having a garden party, lunches, picnics on Sunday afternoons. And it was just a relaxing, joyful time for the families. And they replicated it as best they could in the community, in the community center.
As they came here.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's pretty neat. So when did it become the Champlain Club? So I know that it operated as a German club for a little while, or was that just the nomenclature for?
So depending on your age and when you came to Burlington, the changeover, I am not exactly sure when they started using the Champlain Club, but a great number of folks that would recreationally sail in Mallett's Bay became members for the winter. And so they were like, let's make this the Champlain Club. And so there are lots of nautical themes
Inside
in
the building.
storage.
yeah, introduced.
But they are, it was always a DBA. So the Gerta Lodge is still back there in the background, and now we are a nonprofit, and we carry that Gerta tag forward with the Gerta Community Trust.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, carrying the history all the way forward too.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know I'm going to be a little all over the place here because
That's fine.
we're just bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the 17th, right?
Yes, September 17th.
So back to the first floor.
Yeah.
There's like, if I remember correctly, because we held a couple of meetings there, we had an event there, and an annual talk. There's the community room you mentioned.
Yep.
There's a sliding, what's the
There's a 24-foot shuffleboard table.
shuffleboard table.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is one of the, I think there's one other in Burlington at a restaurant, and ours is quite a bit bigger, but
Yeah.
it is not something that will fit anywhere else in the building. We've looked at where it could live, but
Yep.
the room it's in is where it's going to stay.
Yeah. It's kind of neat. I mean, it does take up that wall in that
Yeah,
room, you know,
absolutely.
but the room's big enough, I think.
is.
And then the adjoining room has a bar in it.
It had a bar, and
seating.
we've got it mostly as a intermediate workspace while we do some renovations, do some repairs. The commercial kitchen is on the first floor, and then there's a front room, which is mostly a sitting and casual sitting rather than a formal meeting room. But those spaces, the back space, the oak room, is available for meetings, and there's tables, and that's where the board game group would meet.
Okay. Oh, neat. Yeah.
They
So
just put up all the tables and fill them with little trinkets and cardboard.
right. So people are renting the space to use for different uses.
Yes.
And shares. So that's how do you guys manage that? Who handles?
We have an online scheduling tool.
Okay.
Prior to that, going back a number of years, there was we had a Google Calendar doing it on the cheap,
Yeah.
which worked pretty well. And every now and then we would have a conflict, which is part of the community life. You can't-
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's not going to be perfect. But we put the scheduling system in place, and that's been really great. There are a couple of groups, you get feeling your music, you turn up the music, and the people are like, well, I can't do the other thing I wanted to do at the building at the
Right.
same time. Thankfully, our neighbors all love the music that we play. I don't know if they're just saying that or if they actually like it, but either way.
It doesn't matter. If
It
they're not
doesn't-
complaining, that's all that counts, right?
Right. Put everybody on the happy pages for it. We've got a lot of crossover with music, and we've had a couple of groups come and rehearse plays to put on plays in larger spaces.
But they come and use your space as a rehearsal.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
That's
it's really fun.
Convenient. I mean, so I'm going to start segueing into the preservation, and you mentioned
Yeah.
projects, and the temporary workroom. So does any of this activity generate funds for you guys to keep the thing going?
We have rental fees, and we collect membership fees for folks. We've recently put in a bunch of things for the audio-video environment upstairs, and try and present bands in better light.
Yeah.
And that's going well. I look at the space and I have my dream of what it can be, and build consensus with everybody and chase
So
those
what's that
dreams
dream?
down.
What's that dream?
Well, the upstairs ballroom is it's such a fantastic place. The feeling of it is very cozy. I find very, very at peace for me. And I met my wife on that dance floor, and there's a lot of special, wonderful memories. I had our reception there. And as I talk to people in the community, people pop up and say, oh yeah, my mom had her wedding anniversary or wedding reception there, and 50th birthday party.
Yeah.
All those sorts of things.
All those memories.
That was
come
all
up.
the place. It was the place that all of it happened for a huge portion of that neighborhood. And so, I want to keep it and improve it as best we can.
Yeah. So along the lines of improvements, what sort of projects are you guys working on? And now I'm assuming we'll get into. I think there's some grant monies available and stuff, and we're going to communicate about facade improvements.
Yes.
But what's going on inside? What are some current projects that the board's working on?
We have reinstalled some things that were removed in the past. We shortened an upstairs bar space so that there's more dance floor. We sanded and sealed the dance floor two and a half years ago, I think.
Yeah, mid-pandemic, you said?
Yes. That was really great. We painted the entire upstairs, all volunteer labor, and had a bunch of equipment loaned to us, and that was really super. Again, the neighborhood coming together, and there's a bunch of things for downstairs. I would like to improve the kitchen a bit. The club community used to put on brunches every Sunday, and it was way more food than you or I could possibly imagine.
Sure.
And it was very inexpensive, and it was really just a community building exercise.
Yeah.
And people got together because they loved to cook and they loved to visit.
Sounds like a really good idea.
Yes.
You'd like to see that come back?
I would love to see that. Yeah, absolutely. Sunday mornings, we could do that.
Yeah.
Put on some blues upstairs and have lunch or brunch downstairs, and then go up and dance for a little while.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Sundays are, I personally I'm not good at it. I work 7 days a week usually, but I try to keep Sundays as that sort of ease out of last week and into the next week. And
Absolutely.
just, brunch is like the perfect opportunity to do that, That sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So we're inside. So tell me a little bit about the grant project that's coming up.
We have a number of grant proposals, and we are seeking matching grants for some of those, and donations, and raising money from our communities so that we can insulate the upstairs, we can insulate the outside. A huge number of clapboards need to be replaced. Windows are not original in the upstairs, and as grant money becomes available, depending on the limitations, we'll use it for replacing those windows with period correct, or improving the security of the downstairs, because the downstairs has all kinds of expanded metal over the windows.
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah,
security
I remember
from
that. Yeah, because it's close to the grade level, of course,
is
especially
grade
in the
level.
back. Doesn't the driveway come up a little bit or something?
Yeah, all of the first floor is actually 4 feet below grade.
Okay, yeah,
So,
I thought so.
Yep, it is a little bit of a challenge to have windows that are safe.
Yeah, that is a challenge. I know I've been on a project up in Enosburg, and they have a similar situation in their opera house.
Right.
And we restored windows for them, and then we created, 1/4-inch plexiglass storm windows. They're functioning more as protective, secure windows.
Yeah.
To the other windows, because rocks from lawnmowers and more people just trying to get in. Yeah. Have you guys had any experience with people trying to get in recently, or
No,
quiet?
not in the recent past. The 1973 fire was actually a Molotov cocktail arson, and that arsonist also burned several churches in the early 70s. Yeah. So amazingly, one of the neighbors who happened to be a member was looking out their window and saw it happen.
Oh, wow.
And called the fire department right away. But unfortunately, a great deal of history was lost at that point. There were, ceremonial things, documents, handwritten documents in longhand German, which I couldn't read anyway, but we don't have them to even do that research
That
on.
all caught fire.
Yeah. So a lot of smoke damage, on other challenges of, a very old building. So
Yeah.
keep after it.
We'll pull up the website in a minute.
Absolutely.
For scheduling events and stuff like that, you can all do that through the website?
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
And you can
Donate
you can
to
donate
help with
on
matching
the-
grants
on
and
the,
stuff?
Yep, on the website, and there's some email contacts to reach the board about becoming a member as well.
Oh, great. That's pretty neat. So with the grant stuff, is that through the state or is it through like Preservation Trust? What's the
There are
organization?
grants underway with Preservation Trust, State of Vermont, Historic Preservation, and I am not, unfortunately, the grant person. I have very luckily got a wonderful board member, Charlene, who is taking on most of the grant writing and most of the interaction and the conditional understandings on all of the grants, because nothing is just here, have some money, just go do what you want.
It's never simple. I know. At Shelburne Museum, constantly doing that. And of course, they're a big organization. They have a team of people that are trying to pull out of that. A lot of that falls to one of my co-workers and colleagues. But it is, it's not something. It's like a rabbit hole once you start doing it. And
Once you discover that there's things there, you have more and more to learn.
yeah, and I know, just to reference the Opera House again, there's a scope of work that the grant covers.
Yes.
You make sure that you meet those, and I get it, that's public money coming to you, so everybody wants to make sure it's spent in the way it's supposed to be spent. But in the case up there, we run into, just like in a project at home, you run into a laundry list of other things that are associated with it,
Right.
but you've also got a timeline.
Right.
So you sort of ignore those other things and make a list and go, okay, let's get these grant projects out of the way,
Absolutely.
circle back at the end, and then try to tackle some of the other stuff that comes up.
Yep.
So what's the scope of work that the grants are hoping to
So we're-
accomplish? Windows, you said.
Windows, the front facade is very, very worn. Being a south-facing, we get a lot of sun.
structure. It's
Wood
clapboard, right?
structure. Yep, clapboard. And that has been weathered, and it's in really tough shape. It is not very attractive. We look back on the early pictures of the club with the hundreds of people, and
Yeah.
it's certainly a different sort of thing. So,
So they have, this is neat, there's a couple of flyers for events going on.
yep, it's from 1939, I think.
Yep. And then one's, I have to put my
Yeah.
cheating glasses on, but 29 or 39, I can't see, but we'll zoom in on it so people at home can see it. I don't know what camera to,
1929.
see if we can zoom in on that for a minute. I'll try not to move it too much.
Yep.
But, repairs to the facade,
Yep.
the clapboard,
Yep.
and then I'm trying to think, what's,
Well, what we
Tell me
have
some more stuff,
what
yeah.
we have done recently,
yeah,
new furnace from with help from Efficiency Vermont and Vermont Gas,
yeah.
and then an on-demand water heater, so that we're not heating for no
Water
reason.
for no reason, especially if it's not occupied all the time. You
Right.
know? Yep.
With our relatively low occupancy rate, it is important that we don't spend energy where we don't have to.
Yeah, you're raising money for important things and then spending money on energy that you're not going to utilize.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Those are all those projects that nobody sees. Those are really hard ones to fund too.
Right.
Getting people to chip in for something nobody's ever going to notice, the hot water tank,
Yep.
or heat.
So we've automated as much as we can. We drive temperatures in the building on schedules. We collect data on temperature in the building, outside the building, and around the building, so that we know, it makes sense to open the windows right now so that we can bring in cooler air.
Who does that monitoring for you?
I do.
You do? Okay, I was going to ask. And it's remote. You can do it on the computer at home, and you
Yep.
can see what's going on.
Yep.
Neat. Yeah, most of the buildings at the museum are like that. And I know there's two people that go home and keep an eye on that. You
Yes.
know.
Yeah, little.
That's really convenient though, and that's super, that's cutting
super good.
edge.
It is good. In a previous employment situation, I was managing a very automated building, and I had 30 or 40 temperature points in the building that I could remote view and create logic to produce the best result.
To do whatever needed to be done.
Now I'm doing that on a much smaller scale.
Okay, good. So it's nothing for you.
It feels a little familiar, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm sure Charlene is happy you're doing that.
Yeah.
And she's doing the heavy lifting with the grants,
Yes, it's very
So
good.
what's, front facade, how's the roof on the building?
The roof is good. It is a rubber membrane roof. We were up earlier this year repairing a ventilator which had been blocked off for a couple of years. And that has come on and worked all summer, which has been great.
Oh, nice.
The front of the building where the pitch roof and the stepped facade meet has some issues. There's a little bit of water pooling there.
Flashing details.
And we're got to get up and have someone take a look at the chimney for the building, because that is not in use anymore. So we're going to cap that off.
Yep.
And then insulating into the basement. At one point, there was a large project to curtain all of the stone foundation with cement. And so that's all. It's great in that it's not moving. It's not great in which there's water challenges from that.
Yeah. A lot of those solutions were sort of, a lot of people do things not realizing what the end result, some other different result is going to occur,
Yep.
So you guys are finding, so it's like a whole bunch of friends owning a house together.
Yes, very much.
Try to itemize the immediate needs, seal the envelope, and then work on aesthetic improvements.
Yep.
All the while scheduling different events, and you have a whole community of people that want to utilize the building.
Yeah.
So that's a big plus.
Right. And we have to schedule around our work around their needs so that they continue to hang with us and keep on our
cash flow
cash flow.
And energy.
And we do volunteer work days. And so twice a year we do an inside, and twice a year we do an outside. Spring and fall we do an outside. We renovate as much as we can and chase down new things or other things that are not right. We just did the gravel driveway this summer, and that's been really great.
Nice.
The neighbors, the first time I drove in, I was like, that feels really loud. And I asked the neighbors, and they were like, no, it's fine.
It's fine.
They share the driveway with us.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they'll take the noise. I'm not getting stuck in the mud.
Oh, for sure. That's right. It was a dirt driveway before.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this all sounds like a lot of pretty good news.
Yes.
I know it's a lot of work, a lot of effort. I'm really excited about our partnership on this event, and looking forward to anything else we can team together on, because it's a really neat building.
Yes.
You guys will keep it. I'm sure you'll keep it for another 120 something years.
I hope I'm not still on call in 127 years.
You'll step back
But
a little
otherwise,
bit by then, maybe.
Maybe I'll retire.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing your experiences.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, everybody could go to the Preservation Burlington website also, and we've posted the event on the 17th and the walking tours and stuff. It's going to be a really good time. I think we've put together a whole bunch of really fun things, and
Absolutely.
like a whole full day. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Being on. Yep, it was a pleasure. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning. I'm reading the cue card. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to CCTV live at 525, the Preservation Burlington show. For more information on Burlington history, our tours, and events like the one at the Champlain Club, or to get a marker for your house, go to www, which I don't have to say anymore, preservationburlington.org. And we'll see you next month. Thanks for watching.